Well, the Dutch East India Company was a huge international company. It was one of the first joint stock companies. It was founded in 1602. So actually the English East India Company was first in 1600, but the Dutch East India Company was much more important throughout the 17th and into the 18th centuries. Economists have actually figured out that if you convert it into dollars, their market capitalization about 1637 was more than $7 trillion, which means it was the most like the richest, most capitalized country in history, more than Apple, more than GM, more than any of the ones today. And it had a huge effect, obviously, not just on Europe and the development of capitalism in Europe, but also on global markets and global capitalism.
The Dutch East India Company was something of an anomaly within Dutch society, because while in England monopolies were very normal, yes, at the time, in England monopolies were very normal, they weren't in Holland. The state secretary, we might call him, Johan van Oldenbarnevelt, who was the secretary of the States General, he actually was personally, and who asked the different companies to come together, to join together. And Verenigde Oost-Indische Compagnie means the United East India Company. You know, there were something like 6 or 7 different companies competing with each other. Well, anyhow, he asked them to work together because this is quite differently from England. The Dutch were involved in the revolt against Spain, what we now call the 80 Years' War. And so the Dutch East India Company, that is VOC, it is also called, Verenigde Oost-Indische Compagnie, was on the one hand meant as a mercantile, as a trading organization, but on the other hand also as a weapon against the Spaniards and the Portuguese, who worked together under one crown. So one of the ideas of the establishment of the VOC was that they would fight the Spaniards and the Portuguese in east of the Cape of Good Hope, and really try to inflict as much damage as possible to the Portuguese and Spanish presence in Asia.